I'd like to say a big welcome to Dr. Harold Mayaba, an inspirational entrepreneur, business consultant, and speaker. Harold Mayaba's journey is a testament to resilience, determination, and the power of hope. Born in Zambia's southern province to teenage parents, he faced profound hardships, including the loss of both parents at a childhood marked by instability and scarcity. Despite these challenges, living in New Zealand now, he's obtained ultimately his PhD as a business and is a business consultant, speaker, and entrepreneur. Harold blends market and organizational culture research expertism with a passion for uplifting others. Through workshops and conferences, he shares his life experiences to inspire individuals and organizations, equipping them with strategies for growth and success. His message is clear. Setbacks are not the end, but stepping stones to greater achievements. Harold's signature saying is definitely unleash the lion within and let your roar be heard. Hello, Harold.
Exactly.
And thank you so much.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for agreeing for us to have this chat. So Harold and I met through mutual contacts, and obviously he knows I do software in businesses, and I know that he's a market consultant. And I asked him actually to write an article for the site, which you'll see, which is called How to Increase Sales. So I'm always talking about, business from the software side. And when I got his article, I thought it was so good. And we had to actually have a conversation about this just to expand a bit more on sort of what you're saying there. Yeah, and he agreed. And that's why we're having this talk today. So
Yeah.
Harold, I mean, when I got your background, wow, it's inspiring. Can you tell me like what in your background sort of led to where you are today?
Thank you for asking that question. So my upbringing, actually, I call it was more like a natural military training. So I went through really serious hardships as a child growing up. So because of that background, it has given me resilient to just push on. Actually, I call myself the lion hugger because I face life challenges head on.
That's
So
amazing.
that background has made me to be a person who's fearless to actually go out there and face whatever challenges. Because I know that beyond those challenges, that's where growth is.
That is
So
so
it's my
true.
bringing.
Yeah, that
It's
is
my
so true.
bringing that actually made me who I am.
That is actually so true, and it's fantastic. You've let it shape you for the better and not for the worst. So that's fantastic. Tell me,
Exactly.
what are you most passionate about, both professionally and personally?
Let me start with professionally. Professionally, I love to engage with people, to collaborate with other businesses, to just hear what they are doing. So professionally, I love to network with people, and I guess that's why we are here talking today,
Exactly.
because I love it. You know,
Mm,
I love it. Sometimes I think when you're doing business, it's very common that some people they think I know it all. I'll just go and do it. But not really. You need to talk to people. You need to engage with
yeah,
other people. You share ideas. So for me, networking and collaborating with others professionally, I love it. At a
fantastic.
personal level, I love to help people, especially young
Mm,
ones, especially those who are going through similar hardships like I
mm,
went through when I was young. So I've got a passion to talk to people, young people, to show them the right direction to go, especially when it comes to the spirit of never give up. Life may be tough today, but
mm.
there's always light at the end of the channel. I've got passion for that.
That is so true. I mean, also now being an older person, I know that when you're young, you think the world is going to end. You can't see beyond that moment. So I think that
Yeah,
with people sort of like yourself out there talking and inspiring them, it makes a difference, eh? To
yeah.
someone's life, and that's what you want. Thank you, Adel. That's so beautiful. I feel like, I didn't know that about you. Um, okay, so the reason why we were chatting, and then like you said, your background has sort of forged you into who you are today. And obviously, you want to help people and you've translated that into a career for yourself in business. Love that. Um, in your article, and we work very much sort of with a similar kind of market, but in your article, you highlight the importance of understanding your customer. As a market consultant, can you maybe share a specific example of a company where you worked, where, the deep dive into sort of the customer journey and the market helped you sort of reveal, or you found, how it could help them impact their sales?
Yeah, actually, I'll give you an example of the current project that I'm involved.
Okay.
So I'm involved with Airtel Zambia. Actually, this is a project that is running in 5 different countries: Malawi,
Oh,
Congo DR, Kenya, Tanzania, and Zambia.
nice.
So I'm collaborating, like I told you, I love to collaborate with. So I'm collaborating with content creators in Zambia.
Okay.
These are new terminologies that have just come, with the coming of internet influencers and all these terminologies. And I love this. So I'm collaborating with these content creators. They love to dance on TikTok. They all do this, but there's always something missing because they don't understand the language to use even when they make these videos.
Okay.
So I was approached by a company called Indahash. So Indahash, well, actually is a company that was hired by Airtel Zambia and Airtel Kenya,
Yeah.
Tanzania, Malawi, and DRC. But I'm managing these content creators for this project in Zambia.
Wow.
And it so can collaborate with young people who are just dancing on TikTok. Because what Airtel they are doing, they have seen that there's a very steep competition with MTN, right?
Yeah.
And they want to start increasing people. They have got like on TikTok over 1 million followers, right?
Yeah.
And Airtel Zambia wants to tap into the market of young people. They are the highest users of mobile phones. And we are using those funny TikTok videos. But now, what I'm doing, I'm guiding the young people to tweak around the message that can actually resonate with fellow young people. But now, using the consumer behavior aspect together with their dance moves. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
I get
And
it.
it's so fascinating. This project is running for about 5 months. We started last month. Actually, I'm gonna share some videos after this so that you can see what we are doing there. It's
Awesome.
so fascinating. For example, after I advise them, we work with this in the hash company. And then myself, I'm working with content creators. I tell them this is what you're gonna do, this is and this and that. When we send a video after I advise them, within a day, how the young people just get excited about this promotion. It's
Yeah.
so amazing. It's so
Yeah.
amazing. So that's one project actually that I'm involved right now, and I've seen the power of collaboration. I
Wow.
cannot do those dances. I can't.
Nor can
But
I. Nor can I. Yeah.
I guess you can't, right? But when I look at what they are doing,
Yeah.
they can dance, they can shoot the videos. But now I say, all right, guys, come here. When you make this video, this is how you should
Yeah.
actually, the language you should use. And I'm bringing my expertise of consumer behavior combined with those dance moves, and it goes like bushfire.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. You're meeting the consumer where they are. They're on TikTok. They're watching dance videos, and you're bringing your
Exactly.
client who's normally a conservative. I mean, like a mobile service provider, conservative,
Yeah.
telecoms kind of thing, and you're bringing them into an audience where they want to connect with. So, I mean, that's awesome. And they're seeing good results.
Exactly. We are seeing good
Fantastic.
results and it's really
Yeah.
working. Especially that already the
Yeah.
majority users of internet mobile phones in Africa are young people.
And do you think that can translate for any business? for any sort of messaging that you want to put out there?
It depends on the type of business and
Mm,
the type of customers you have. So my job as a researcher, first of all, have to look
mm,
at the statistics, right?
yeah,
Which age group is the highest user of mobile phones and data, right?
yeah. Oh,
Then from there, we take it to say, what kind of message are we going to communicate with these people? We're not going to use the traditional radio, television, advertisements. No, we are dealing with young people here who are
yeah,
the highest users of mobile phones and who buy a lot of data.
yeah,
So we're gonna send a message that is similar to what they love, what they do, their language, their daily language,
yeah,
right? And that works.
yeah. Because I
And
mean,
that's what sometimes businesses miss.
yeah, because that audience, kids grow up like on YouTube now. They're growing up on a phone. They don't know what TV is. They grow up on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
So,
especially radio. Radio is even gone.
oh, has radio suffered so much in terms of that demographic, that age group now?
Exactly. Radio
Yeah.
has suffered so
Yeah,
much.
true,
So,
eh?
for example, if you're trying to reach young people, pretty much you may be wasting your resources and time to put your advert on a radio station. How many listen to radio stations? The
That's
young people. They are not
that
there.
that is very true. You don't exactly find young kids listening to radio. I mean, every child that I come across these days, anywhere between, I would even say zero, like one, to 20 these days. I mean, they're attached to a cell phone. And it's
Yeah.
YouTube, it's Discord, it's all those different sites that they're on now. Now, I know that many businesses struggle to sort of translate to market insights into actionable results, and
Yeah.
actionable sales tactics. What do you think is the most common mistakes that you've seen companies make in this process so far? And how do they bridge the gaps better with sort of implementing a strategy better?
Thank you for asking that question. There are so many mistakes that businesses make, but I just want to highlight one major one
Mm,
that I see. I think most businesses, when something is not going well, when their sales are low, they're always looking at the consumers. Oh,
mm,
the consumers are not buying from us. And then they come up with all these strategies of blasting advertisements, all the promotions, investing a lot of money. Sometimes we need to look inside. Let me give an example. Nowadays, if I'm to buy an item from eBay or Alibaba,
mm.
right? As a consumer, by the time I click the button, send, buy now, I'm already looking at when is this item going to arrive on my doorstep, right? This is the modern consumer. Now, some companies, for example, when they receive an email or an inquiry from a consumer, maybe they take 3, 4 days before they get back to that consumer. That person is gone. He's gone. Things are moving so fast, and we want to see results now. And that's the consumer of the 21st century. A consumer of the 21st century, they don't have time to waste. Click the button, and they want to hear from you. So if your culture as a business is getting to your consumers who are inquiring about your product 4, 5 days later down the line, you are wasting money when you start advertising or sending all these promotions to your consumers. The problem is an internal problem that you have to deal with.
This
So
is
people sometimes they don't align those culture, the operational gaps that is
yeah.
there. They're always thinking something far away. Meanwhile, everything is internal. That's one thing I've seen.
And that exact point is actually why I'm talking to you, because when I thought about it and I saw your article and what you focusing on as a point that we don't normally look at, people look externally in the business firstly. Am I on this? Am I doing that? Am I marketing here? Am I sponsoring there? But in the reality is when you actually ask for service, you do want it instantly. instantaneously. For
Yeah,
example, myself, instead of going into a shop and physically picking the goods off the shelf and then waiting in a line to pay, I actually prefer just to pick the goods online and have it delivered. It's the
yeah.
smoothest process ever. And exactly what you said, you see it coming through right there and there. Because when I walk into a shop and I even try and look for somebody to help me, they're either not there or they're missing. I don't know about New Zealand where you are, but Cape Town, South Africa, definitely we have a service problem, an in-person service problem.
Yeah.
And also if you mail a company, that take a few days to get back to you. It's in a unite, it's organizational culture that can cost a lot of people their sales, not necessarily what they're doing outside. And I mean, so with today's sort of changing environment, because there's a lot of factors now that also impact us. It's AI, it's
Yeah.
environmental factors, it's political factors, it's culture, it's fashion. The traditional sales tactics are often insufficient. What practical advice would you give us um, in our business as business professionals to actually help us increase our sales, taking into account these culture factors that we would be looking at as well?
Thank you for asking that question. Actually, about an hour ago, I had a meeting with one of the content creators. I told you I'm working with content
Oh,
creators back in Zambia. I was talking to this young man. He said, we're going to shoot videos. Can you just advise what we need to do?" Then I said, "What is trending on the ground? What
yeah.
stories are people sharing? What is the gossip in the community?" Then he said, "Why are you asking that?" I said, "Use the gossip in the village, in the community, in the suburbs, and create your content around that. By doing so, you have already gone 2, 3, 4 steps
Very
ahead.
true.
And then immediately you make that video, people get excited. Now, coming to your question, what is the contemporary issues going on at the moment, wherever you are? What are people talking about? What is on the radio? What is on the news? The issue of AI is a huge, huge topic at the
Oh, yeah.
moment. But most people, they are skeptical about it. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to embrace it. By the time they think of embracing it, they're 10 miles behind. Other businesses have moved on. There are some things that, whether you like it or not, is there to stay. It's not, you can't get rid of it. You can cry the whole day. It's there to stay. So my advice is that we need to move with time. There are things we cannot stop, but we need to adapt. And this is where you have to learn, keep learning all the time. Do you know, let me give you an
Mm,
example. Do you know why most family businesses they fail nowadays?
no. Why?
Oh, I inherited this business from my grandfather 50 years ago. We want to keep the legacy. We want to maintain the tradition. We have to keep doing the way our grandfather used to do things. That was 50 years ago.
Yep.
We've been doing these things for 40 years. It works for us.
Mm,
It used to work those days, not anymore.
mm,
Because people don't want to change as things are evolving. We have the issue of climate change. We have the issue of animal warfare, all these issues. If you are in a business where animal warfare or climate change is a huge topic, you have to show that you are doing something about it. You are not passive, you are proactive every
yeah.
day, all the time.
Yes.
That way, you'll be in the game.
Yeah. I mean, and we can see it here in our local markets, just like I'm sure you see it in the markets that you work in. What is happening on the ground, like you say, is affecting what's going on in the market. And we've seen, even though the war between Palestine and Israel is not taking place in South Africa, because there are people who are connected to people in that sense. So companies doing business with either of those countries obviously are coming under scrutiny locally as well, and other issues even
Yeah,
related to the US market, because it's related to our current culture, our way of doing things. They affect us. Is there
yeah.
anything you would advise? We know that we struggle in every industry and every company, we struggle to overcome these challenges. Is there anything that you can advise we can look at or do to try and overcome these challenges?
So you mean the
Adaption?
challenges of adopting to new changes,
Yeah,
right? I love this saying, change always comes with challenges, right? But change always comes with opportunities.
true.
Many of the times that as human beings, whenever we think about change, we focus on challenges. What about the opportunities? It's actually it's a package. You unwrap it, there
Yeah,
are challenges. That's what you see first, right? But keep digging down. That's where opportunities are. So you just have to go beyond the challenges for you to find the opportunities that align underneath.
yeah,
But the problem as businesses, as people, human beings, we dig a little bit on top, we find one challenge, I give up. I can't do it. Go deeper. My
yeah,
advice is that yes, there are challenges, but what lies underneath those challenges are opportunities for you to grow. I'll give an example of AI. I'm a novice in this field. A lot of everything is just new, but I've started teaching myself. Every day I'm discovering something new, right?
yep.
When you dig deeper and you reach where the opportunities are, the challenges are forgotten completely, and it's worth it.
I
So my
completely,
summary on this, just dig deeper.
yeah. I can completely relate to what you're saying. Yes, people look at changes and they see challenges, and then suddenly it does become an issue. But
Yeah.
I mean, that aside, it also presents opportunities. Like when I think back when we started to automate things, like putting in reminders on systems and so forth, people got scared it meant their jobs. But at the end of the day, it didn't mean their jobs because obviously employment went up. Uh, Companies do better. It meant an opportunity for them not to do a repetitive task, an opportunity to
Yeah.
maybe do more things that interact with humans. I'm just looking at it sort of from the processing, the IT point of view, how AI or how automation affected things. And it's the adaption has so worked. Tell me, what services, Harold, do you actually offer that is to the market around market consulting? Like if somebody's watching this and they wanted to reach out to you, obviously we'll share your contact information in the description. But what actually services wise do you offer in the market?
So I'm gonna thank you for asking. So I'll explain this. It's a combo sort of approach that I
Sure.
use. I conduct internal research for organizations, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the starting point. I'm a business consultant specializing in consumer behavior market research, but I start with internal research to see exactly where the business is, what they are doing, their organizational culture. Then from there, I can advise if everything is going on well,
Yeah.
I'll say, all right, we have now to look outside of your business. Maybe the consumer perception, the consumer test has changed. Then I'll conduct a market research.
Okay. So you always start with an internal view.
I start with the internal one because I'm not just there to grab people's
Yeah.
money and then do a market research. Market research can be very complicated and very expensive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I go up there and conduct a market research. Meanwhile, the problem is an internal one. Maybe it's just a mindset. Maybe it's to change their operation systems. We have to do that first. If all boxes are ticking, right, for the
Yeah.
internal research, then we move to the market research to understand the consumers, what they want.
And this is why I find your work and what your article was saying so interesting and why we needed to chat. Because most companies, when they start their projects, it's all about externally. How can I improve sales?
Exactly.
Before they even think of, oh, is there something we could be doing internally that's not increasing sales? They look externally, they say, oh, have we got a TikTok account? because now that's
hmm
now the latest thing. How can we get onto TikTok? But you can have, and in so many ways, I've seen it. I've worked in those companies. I've worked with those companies. They've got everything externally happening, yet they're still
Yeah.
seeing the same types of losses and challenges and barriers, you know? And you're right. It should have started internally. I think you're 100% right there. And what
You know
is
where the problem is? Sorry to interject. You know where the
mm,
problem is?
where?
As human beings, it's not easy to say, I'm the problem. Because when you start looking internally, it's going to expose you as a manager, as the head of department. It's going to expose you to say there's something you are not doing
Yeah.
right. So that's the challenge. So it's very easy for me to point at something not within the organization because it's going to expose me. But people have to rise above that. If I have a problem, if I have some limitations, I have to point it out.
Mm,
But now, before I know you have another question, the other part that I do after if we I go to the next stage of doing the market research, then I follow that with workshops because workshops
mm,
now are meant to help businesses to implement the strategies that I'll recommend. You don't just leave them alone to say, these are the results. See you later, implement these. I have to go through with them to conduct workshops and to coach them for a certain period of time.
yeah. Yeah. And am I right when I say that this is quite unique about a research consultant? Because I've never heard of a consultant firstly looking internally. Marketing always seems to be the external, to look at your market, always seems to be the external look first. Is that what's unique
That
about the
that
service?
yeah, this is the unique part about what I do because I saw a gap in this. I saw a gap,
Yeah.
and as a person, the way when I grew up, I faced a lot of challenges, right?
Yeah.
But there was a point when I used to think all the problems I was going through
Mm,
was a result of my surrounding. So
yeah.
I changed my mindset. I thought to myself, wait a minute, how am I contributing to my failures? So my business is actually built on that philosophy because when I was growing up, yes, I told you I faced
Yeah.
a lot of hardships, right? And it was very easy for me to point at my background, my environment, everything. But at one point I thought, no, 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 wait a minute. What am I contributing to my failure? And this is the philosophy I'm using. As a business, I ask a question.
Yeah.
How are you contributing to the lost sales?
And that is fantastic because you know what? You're actually just aligning with how we look at life. Some people they blame everything externally as to why they're not in a certain position. They're not in a
Yeah,
certain place in their life. There's always external reasons. And funnily enough, we know psychologically now that that's usually the problem. It's usually an internal problem, not an external problem. That's
yeah,
just a factor that exists in the environment. And I love that you have applied this to business. You're right, it's unique. I haven't
yeah.
heard of it yet, and I read a lot. I interact a lot with marketing companies, totally. But I mean, just so that I can get a better understanding, tell me, just to come back to you. So, what are you looking at right now, learning, working on improving in your business? What are you personally looking at right now when you look at stuff?
I'm working on improving on AI. That's
AI.
where exactly.
No,
I'm really diving into. If you want to teach me about AI,
I'm still
I'll be your
learning.
client tomorrow.
Yeah, I am learning. I will tell you though, we are very excited about DeepSeek. Totally loving that it's technically helping us so much, like write software. So that's the
Yeah,
best part. But yeah, I always say, Gemini, Google's AI is my best employee. That's
yeah.
sort of like my go-to line, right? And tell me, what are you like most excited about the future of your business? What excites you the most?
Oh, wow. Wow. I love that question. I loved quite that question. The future of my business, when I look at it, like you said, it's kind of unique, right?
Yeah.
I'm not just there to conduct market research, but I talk to people, right?
Uh,
And I share my own stories. For example, when I'm conducting these workshops, I share my own stories, like my philosophy. I've just shared with you
Yeah.
one of my philosophies. I share that. So for me, what is really exciting me about my business is not just to increase the sales of my clients, but to help them have a different mindset altogether. So it's like a combo, a tot combo like, which is different because we can increase the sales today, but if their mindset does not change, tomorrow they'll be back to where they started from. So what gets me really excited is to talk to people and show them and make them realize that I'm the problem here before I can even point at external things. This gets me excited. Those people who come and say, you are right, I'm the problem here.
Harold, thank you so much for joining me today. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm going to put all of your details in the description so that people can get hold of you, consulting wise, because it's phenomenal what you do. It's definitely a very different, unique way of looking at marketing, of reaching your market and increasing sales, is to firstly look internally at your organizational culture. So thank you very much for staying up late in New Zealand. So I'm gonna put your contact information in this description, and obviously it's linked to your article because anybody out there that wants to contact you, reach out for your services. Is that okay with you? Yeah. Are you happy for
That's
some?
that's fine with me. I'm
Okay,
happy
that's
to do it.
perfect.
Thank you.
That's perfect. So, and thank you so much. Please keep us updated with what is happening on your projects and so forth from time to time. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
It's my pleasure to, and I'm looking forward to work with you in future again. Thank you.
Thanks, Harold. Have a wonderful day.